How's it going, guys? Apple here today. This is lesson 9 into my new series, Learning How to Code in C++. Today, we're going to be talking about logic operators. Now, this kind of hits the same ballpark, and if you don't understand relational operators, basically this is your equal to, or less than or greater than types of formats. If you don't really understand that, I recommend going to lesson 8 and going ahead and watching that video before you actually get into this one, because if you don't really understand it, you're not going to understand this one either. So, what is a logic operator and why do we need it? Basically, a logic operator is different ways of designing code. Of course, in C++, I'm going to be talking about and, or, and of course there are some more other operators in C++. I'll be going over that in the next series of, being better in C++. This is going to get a little bit more complicated, so I'm going to add more numbers into it and assign different values for them. So right now we have 4 ints, and right now, as we can see, I'm going to change this to true, and I'm going to change this to false. So logic operators are really mainly for if statements. So basically where logical operators stand is inside of the if statement. So for example, in this code, in the first logic operator we're going to be talking about is and. Basically it's just 2 ands. It's really pronounced and. Let's put num3 is equal to num4. So basically we have right now 4 ints into this if statement, and basically we have 2 true or false statements into this if statement. So if num1 is equal to num2, which it is not, it would produce a false statement. And if num3 and if num4 is also true or false, since it is false right now, it will execute a false statement. When we run the program, it's going to give us a false statement, as we can see right there. Of course, without this cout line, it's not really going to produce anything, and you're not going to be able to see it. But let's say this num2 is also equal to 5, and we execute our program, we will see a false statement. This is mainly because this right here, sure, it is true, but this side is also false. The same thing will happen if we had it in different sides. The AND operator, basically, both sides has to be equal to true for the outcome to actually be true. Everything else, if one side or even both sides are false, it is completely false. So that is the AND operator and what it does. Of course, let's say all of them are 5, and they all equal to each other. When we execute our program, we should get a true statement, as we see right there. Now the next operator we're going to be talking about is this 2 straight lines. This is an OR operator. OR operators are a lot more lenient for true and false statements. Basically, if one side is true, the entire program is true. If both sides are false, the entire program is false. Or even if both sides are true, of course, it's just going to be true. So let's say this number is 5, so 55, so one side is wrong. It will execute a true statement. Let's say both sides are wrong, it will execute a false statement. Let's say this side is true though, it will execute a true statement. And let's say both sides are true, it will also execute a true statement. Now, we're kind of going deep into the more of a computer science way with this. Logic operators are more for like computer science, but they are an essential for coders 100%. You're not going to see them a lot, but you are going to be definitely using them one way or another. And that's really it of logic operators. Later on, maybe in a different series, in like more of an understanding of how they work, I'll be talking about the NOT operator and the XOR operator into C++. But for now, these 2 operators will be pretty much good enough to really understand. If you actually have trouble understanding this, of course, a lot of people have trouble understanding this as soon as when they're first programming or even learning computer science, I recommend looking up a chart or looking at a chart or making your own chart. For example, the and. If both statements are true, true. If one statement is false, it's false. And then if both statements are false, it's false. In the or statement, if one side is true, it's true. If both sides are true, it's true. And finally, the last part of it is if both sides are false, it's false. Hope you guys liked the video. If you have any comments or questions, go ahead and leave it down below. I'll see you guys in the next episode. And in the next episode, we're going to be talking about switch statements. Woo!